Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Sledgehammers in the Office podcast, where we celebrate the heavy hitters on the job site and in the office. I'm super excited to have a guest with me today from Florida, 2 in a row, Mr. Steve Byrd. So how are you doing?
Good. Thank you for having me on. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Want to jump in right away with kind of your story as far as what's your previous work experience, and you can kind of start wherever and bring us up to speed on what you're doing right now and what that entails.
Okay. So, try to make a long story short, grew up in Michigan in the construction industry. Got a bit too cold out there to be bricking houses in February at 5 degrees. So, went back to school, got my engineering degree, ended up getting into automotive engineering. That led me into aerospace engineering for about 13 years. Wanted to get out of Michigan, move to Florida. So, I had an opportunity to move down there, start a home building company with someone that was already there. He was already licensed and everything. So, my wife and I flew down to Florida, took a good look around. Everything looked great. We built our first model home where they had the Parade of homes, kind of like a spec home type thing that we would lease back. And then it just took off. Next thing I know, we were doing 50, 60 homes a year. That kind of kept expanding. After about 3 years, partner and I split up. I went on my own, started doing small developments, small subdivisions, 46 to 60 houses basically. Did that for a few years. Kind of slowed down a little bit. I'd build a house here and there. And then, the building came to a stop basically in 2007. So at that time, I kind of retired a little bit, got really bored, went out and bought an air conditioning company. I purchased it. Their sales were about $2 million a year. And in about 3 years, we booted up to about $6 million a year. That company I knew I didn't want to keep. That was just something to build, grow, and sell it. Did that, got bored again a little bit, got back into building homes. I live on the coast, just north of Clearwater, Florida, on the Gulf Coast, and just got kind of known as the neighborhood builder. I went and built a couple spec houses. I would buy lots on the water, build the houses. That led into more. So probably since about 2012, I've built probably another 40 homes on the coast. So just now closing my last couple homes. After 26 years of building homes, I'm getting out of that business. About 8 years ago, I came up with an idea for a product. My partner and I came up deck top. So we developed these PVC covers that go on top of 2x6 or 1x6 boards. They look just like a wood floor. They don't get hot. They have an anti-slip surface. Bostic found us. They make the adhesive for us. We got into Home Depot with that about 5 years ago. We basically do online special order sales and then through the Pro Desk. We've been doing that. The sales have been going really well. We got into Lowe's. We were into Lowe's about 2 years. We actually pulled out. Lowe's had so many reorganizations all the time. It was getting tough to keep up with that. So we actually ended up pulling out of Lowe's. Manufactured our product in North Carolina. And we brought on a new manufacturer at the beginning of this year. And that's up in Montreal, Canada. Better product. Better price point, all that stuff. So we're actually right now getting ready to load all the new product pictures and everything up to Home Depot. I'm also working with the in-store merchant there to actually get in store with the product. So that's been going very well. The product was made for a permanent resurfacing type product. If your wood is still good, you're tired of staining it, you don't want to pull it up, replace it with composite. Our product has a lifetime warranty to it. Capture existing deck or dock, and it looks brand new forever. So that's been going very well. Right now we're getting ready to go into about 286 stores across Canada with it. So we got that over here, home building over here. And then I also, just over a year ago, walked into an existing window business. Good friend of mine, actually, his partner had dementia. So he was looking for a new partner to get going. So I went in there, I qualified the business, licensed the business. So we've grown that quite a bit in the last year. We got a good marketing group, things like that. So in Florida, a lot of the windows need to be the impact glass, especially after Helene and Milton that just came through. So the insurance companies have actually been pushing for everybody in the whole state of Florida to have impact glass, or they're going to pull out of Florida. So that's another thing that was kind of enticing to get me into the window business. So that's fun. We're growing the business, and that's a lot of fun doing that. Actually, I'm enjoying it. But trying to have the home building company, window company, and deck top, it was just going to be too much. So the one, got a little burned out building houses after all these years. I didn't physically do the work. I would design all the houses myself. Most of my subcontractors have been with me for 25 years plus. So it was a good ride, but I'm at a point in life to slow it down a little. So that's
Yeah.
where we're at today.
It makes sense. I had a question. I didn't write this one down in the notes, but there's been some talk in the news with insurance companies wanting to pull out of certain areas along the coast just because they're getting hit so often and they're paying out so much for the repairs.
Yeah.
Are the windows one of the huge things that can stop that for most of the houses, or stop the damage, I should say, for most of the houses?
So what just happened with Helene is all the flooding that happened. Since I've been building on the coast, and I think the code was all the way back to 1996 in Florida, anything on the water had to be elevated. Like my house is elevated, everything I built is elevated. You have all these houses built in the 70s and things like that. They were flat on slab, completely flooded. That's kind of a different story. A lot of people are going through this FEMA rule right now, 49% rule. If to get your house fixed back up is more than 49% of the value of the structure through the county appraiser, they're actually wanting you to tear your house down and rebuild it. That's kind of becoming a real disaster. I don't know what's going to happen with that. People are starting to get their own houses appraised. I'm actually involved with helping some people get their houses put back together, sending my guys going back in. We're doing drywall, things like that, just to help them out. So I've helping a lot of people in the community, put their lives back together. Their houses aren't hitting the 49% rule, so there's nothing to worry about. But there's a lot of houses, that were way over the 49% rule, so not quite sure what's going to happen with that now. But as far as what the insurance companies are looking for is your roof. They want you to have the new roof, the secondary water resistance, which is the peel and stick, basically goes on before your shingles, whatever roof it may be. Your shingles come off, your metal comes off, you still won't have a roof leak. So they call it secondary water resistance, SWR. That, and then the windows are the biggest thing. So the windows have actually become the most expensive part of building a house. Some of the houses I do, elevated 2,800 square foot houses, the windows and door package, that could be 80,000 to 90,000 alone just for that. So that has made our building costs really spike, but it's becoming where you're going to have to do that.
Yeah, and it makes sense, especially when you're protecting an entire house at that point.
And it's you want to protect your house. You're living on the coast. It's usually the wind's really not going to blow your windows in, but something's going to fly through it.
Yeah.
I mean, for quite a while, when I built my house years back, I didn't have impact glass. We lived through all these hurricanes. I had single pane glass when I first built my house 20-something years ago. Never had anything happen with all these hurricanes. I built a house next door to me. We had a windstorm come through. There was a screw laying on the front deck. Bam! Right to my dining room window. A little screw took the whole window out.
Yeah.
So I could imagine if you had a piece of a 2x4 or a paint can or something come through. So, we now have impact glass.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. I want to get more into what you're doing with Deck Top and then the window company here in a second. But because it's more my personal curiosity than I think it's also kind of fits more in line with the story, would love to start on the home building side. So what has that looked like for you in terms of the acquisition of properties and the financing for all of that? And I know there's different ways depending on different customers, but do you have did you have a preference in terms of how you like to acquire a property and finance the build, whether that be through a third-party financing, self-financing it, or even having the customer pay if it's like a spec build, or I'm sorry, a custom build?
Custom build. So my theory has always been use the bank's money, not your money. I can make better off my money sitting in an account somewhere than borrowing a lower interest rate most of the time. Doing spec homes, a lot of that, pretty much most of it was waterfront homes on the coast. So I would just, I had a nice credit line set up with the bank, basically based off of my house and my investments. I had, I think it was like $1 million credit line the bank had given me. So I could go in, pick up this lot at that time, 250,000, build a nice house on it for, $725 and put it up for like 1.2. So that's what I would do for the spec houses. I never really advertised. It was word of mouth. Getting the spec houses going really helped. All the way back to when I had my first home building company, we would usually have 3 to 4 model homes in all the different parades of homes in 3 counties. So that really got that company growing. After my partner and I split, going back to the spec house, that really helped. And those, they would basically sell themselves before they were done. We would put a for sale sign out there. We'd already be writing a contract for it, let them come pick their colors and everything. As far as customers, they're usually cash or their own financing. I've had a really good relationship for 25 years with Regions Bank. So most of my customers, I would guide them towards Regions Bank. They knew me very well, and it was just a smoother transition all the way through. So it's pretty much how we've always done it.
Nice.
Cash deals, have had some cash deals come through too. That's nice in a way, but as a builder, if someone has a loan, you're also a little bit protected by the bank. So if you got a cash deal, they don't pay you all the way, something happens, something falls through, now you get an attorney involved and all this stuff. If that customer's dealing with a bank, it has to go all the way through and close. So as a builder, you're actually more protected that way. So it's kind of nice to actually have a bank loan over cash.
Yeah.
With a cash deal, you're not dealing with a bank and all their requirements, but to be protected, it's a little safer when you're both dealing with a bank, is what I found out.
Yeah, and then who's carrying the note for the loan at that point? Or I guess who's signing that? Is that going to be the builder, or would that be the person who's buying the house?
That's the customer.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah, they're getting a construction loan.
Gotcha.
Once we get the CO on the house, it converts to a permanent loan.
Yep.
But the whole time, it's all in their name.
Gotcha. Okay.
And they're paying the payments on it.
That makes sense.
Yep.
Nice. One of the things that I found interesting when I started in the trades, I was always curious about how different guys were building their businesses, and so I would ask them like, "Hey, how'd you grow this thing?" And they always told me the same story. It's word of mouth. It was, "Oh, I did work for John, and then his buddy Tim needed me to do something, and went from there." And I always kept kind of looking for like, all right, is there someone who's got a different way to make this go faster? But finally, it got through my brain that word of mouth seems to be, especially for the trades, the way that it happens. Is there anything that you guys did specifically with word of mouth in terms of, or with your clients on a project to try and increase that word of mouth? So, like, obviously, realtors will have stuff where they've got the closing gifts, and then you guys are in a very similar situation. Do you have, did you do anything with closing gifts, or was there an emphasis for you to say, hey, we're doing these practices to make sure that we're giving ourselves the best chance to get a referral at the end of this?
Pretty much most, like say, not having model homes and things like that. The spec home when I got going again was kind of used as a model home. A lot of people came through it and saw that. That led into a lot of sales. People could actually walk through, touch and feel and see the product. That was probably the most powerful thing, was something they could actually see and touch. Then from there, I could modify the floor plans, anything they wanted to do. That was probably the most powerful thing. I've actually built most of my own neighborhood, the neighborhood behind me, the neighborhood next to me. So just word of mouth, and nobody's ever thrown eggs at my house yet. So I always say, everybody says I get my best friend Jeff. He always says the best reference you can have is you live on the street that you've built. He's like, no builders live on their own street, but I just treat everybody just like a friend. I mean, just help them out. A lot of times I'll be walking through a house and, why don't we do a tray ceiling here, put some crown molding, put some lights in it, do that. And the customer's, well, how much is that, Steve? Don't worry about it, I got it. I just throw it in. And then that goes a long way. Doing extras for people. There's houses that I've built 15, 16 years ago, 5 years ago. They'll come to me, hey, what would I do about this? Who would I call for this? I go right over to their house and help them. So just developing that relationship with your customers goes so far. There's houses that I built for the parents. The kids are moving to Florida a couple years down the line, things like that, got some new jobs. I'm building their kids' houses. So that's just getting that relationship established with your customers is just huge. But yeah. I think word of mouth is probably the best thing you can do, that in a spec type house or a model home, something like that.
Yeah, absolutely. Makes sense. So then we go from, you guys were rolling on the home building side, and then you told me the story a little bit about how you came up with the idea for deck top. You're out on your dock, and you're trying to figure out, how do I refinish these guys without having to stain them 3 times every year? So did you have experience with any product development before, or manufacturing, anything like that? Because I'm sitting here going like, I wouldn't know where to start, who to reach out to, who's even got the capability to build something like that, and then manufacture at that quantity?
So fortunately, my background is engineering. So I did a lot of work for, like I said, the automotive industry. Started off doing tooling and things like that. Got into product development. There's a lot of vehicles I worked on. I designed fuel systems, blow molded plastic fuel tanks, fuel rails. I was involved a lot in the fuel systems in the automotive. Then I had an opportunity. We had a local branch of Boeing open up by us. And I had somebody that I knew over there called me up, said, "Hey, how'd you like to come over here for an interview?" Went over to Boeing, and I mean, I just got right in. They put me through all kinds of classes. Up in the sky, the metal stretching, it's contracting, different things like that, tilt and roll studies. So I got into a lot of technical things. Through all these years of doing this, I got to go to a lot of manufacturing plants, see testing, so I really got familiar with products, how to make the products. So this was about about 8 years ago. My wife and I, my best friend Jeff and his wife Terry, we live right on the coast. We're walking out to get on my boat. I got this nice big dock out there, 2x6 boards. There's nothing wrong with the structure of it. It's just ugly. It's ugly as anything. The sun's beating on all the time. And wood breaks down from the sun. Sun breaks down the integrity of the wood. The water gets in, the rot starts. You got to keep using some kind of oil on it, Thompson's water stain, seal it. And down in Florida, I'm like 2 to 3 times a year, I'm staining this dock. And I'm like, I don't want to tear all this wood off and put composite down. You have to reframe it now, get a shorter span, between the floor joists. Composite gets hot, it's slippery. And I'm like, I just don't want to. Got to be something we can do. So my wife's walking, she gets a splinter in her foot. I'm like, yeah, something's going to change here. So I looked at my white PVC fence, and I looked at my friend Jeff, and we kind of looked at each other and said, "You ever see a board cover?" Because I've never seen a board cover. So I'm also familiar with building products, with just as you are. You're building houses, and all these products out there, and on social media, things like that. You're always seeing different products that come up, and I'm like, I've never seen a board cover. So we go out, we're hanging out on the boat at one of the islands all day, and the girls are floating around, and we got the jams cranked up, and we're on Google searching for board covers. Absolutely nothing. They're yelling at us, "You gonna come out in the water?" "Yeah, I'll be there in a minute. I'm looking for board covers." Nothing. So the next day, I called a guy called the patent professor down in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. He did a bunch of patents for Kevin Harrington and his son Brian when they first started Shark Tank.
Okay.
So that's who I called. They did a search on it. He came back about 2 weeks later and said, "Steve, there's no patent on this. What do you want to do?" I said, "I want to do it. I want to get this patent." So while we were working on the patent, I actually helped him write the patent. I have a 20-page patent for these board covers. We had to get so technical to protect it. We have different patterns, different colors now. It's come a long way. Edge trims, side cladding, a lot of different parts to it. So got the patent, and at the same time, I started looking around for a manufacturer. So I called a couple friends that I knew that were still in the business, in the engineering business, and they pointed out a place in North Carolina to us. We flew up there, seen what they could do. They were our first manufacturer, got it going. We were producing a really nice product. Our first color was just white. It was actually a really nice product. Non-slip. Everything's been tested for non-slip and things like that. We got ASTM ratings on all that. Bostic had mentioned earlier, they found us to make the adhesive. Bostic does all the in-house testing for us as well, which is great. But it just took off. Marketing, getting it out there, getting the product made was easy compared to getting it out there and having the patience, because you want to sell 1 million of this overnight. Everybody's going to love this. In fact, Jeff, my partner, he goes, "We're going to make 5 million the first year." I said, "I hope you're right." I hope you're right. It takes a while to get it out there. So social media, my business partner, Jeff, also my best friend, he is really sharp at social media and marketing. So he started using Facebook, Instagram, all these other avenues. Next thing I know, we got people placing orders off of our website. We're selling off of our website at first, just the website, from all over the country, then into Canada. So it's like, okay, this thing's taken off. Let's get into Home Depot. Called Home Depot. I don't know if I got lucky. I know we do have a unique product that nobody else has, and they recognized it. First call I made to Home Depot, they hopped on it. So as of today, we're still not in the store, but that's coming right around the corner. So with just the online sales that we've been doing, that got us into the quote center part for the longer lengths. So we've been to Home Depot a little over 5 years now. So that's been actually going very well. The other thing, we switched manufacturers, which we are now manufacturing up in Canada. They have connections with a big store chain up there called BMR. They want it in all the stores. So we got that going. We were also found at a trade show about a year and a half ago by a huge distribution company. They also have taken it, they've pretty much taken it over for the whole United States. They're taking it to lumber yards, mom and pop stores, fence companies, just everywhere. They're just covering the market with our product now. They're also buying out a lot of dock companies, so that's another plus. So it's starting to kind of go in a few different directions on it. But it took a lot of marketing to get it out there, people to recognize what you have. Pretty interesting. We do a lot of home shows and things like that, boat shows, and we would have a line a mile long at our booth. I've never seen anything like this. The wife would rib the husband. Why didn't you think of this? We'd be retired by now. So it's just fun. It's a lot of fun. We love doing the shows. And my partner Jeff, he's just like me. He likes to talk. We say that we're twins. We look completely different, but we tell people we're twins. That's why we dress different sometimes. But it's a lot of fun doing that and seeing where it's going now. It's really cool to think that you had an idea and take it to where it's at.
Yeah.
It hasn't been easy. We have a really good-sized warehouse in Florida right by us. That got flooded as well. So we are still cleaning product, reboxing product. We're almost done with it, but it's been a little challenging. But it's all good. Everything's good with it.
Yeah. So what's the relationship been like maintaining or what has it been like maintaining the relationship with Home Depot along the way? And then I'd say, do you have an idea of what that relationship will change or what the changes will be when you're trying to get into the store?
It's all positive, which is nice. Everything's positive, especially when I showed our in-store merchant all of our new products coming out, the new colors, dropping the price point down quite a bit. Home Depot's going to make more margin as well. Some of our product dropped almost $1 a linear foot.
Oh, wow.
So that's huge. And
Yeah.
I mean, our customers were buying it up like crazy at what they were.
Yep.
And now it's really coming down. And our goal was always to get the price down. One of the reasons, there's a couple of reasons we switched our own manufacturer. We wanted to get the price down. And then they had a big composite company buy them out. They saw us as competition and did not want to make our product. So that's another reason we had to move up to the other manufacturer.
Yeah.
So when we came out with this, we thought, well, we have no competition. Well, we found out the composite people don't like us. We never intended to replace their product.
Yep.
Ours is more of a permanent resurfacing product. You never touch again, but it hurts their sales.
Yep.
We never intended to do that. There's plenty of market out there for everybody.
Yep.
So, but it is what it is.
Makes sense. When you're dealing with the manufacturing companies, like this is just my complete ignorance on it, and I'm assuming it's easier than if you're doing it out of China, but how's the communication with them, and what is it like with quality control and fulfilling orders, stuff like that?
These guys up in Canada, the name of the company is Quadruplast, and they're out of Montreal, and just amazing people. They're not only our manufacturer, we're friends. We're like family. In that, if you can find that, I think that's rare. There's a real bond of trust there between us. We were up there a few months back, and I mean, they took us kayaking down the rivers, treated us like gold, $1,000 dinners every night. It's like, guys, you don't have to do this. They're like, we want to. They are as excited about our product as we are, and our relationship with them cannot be better. In fact, they want to get out of the cold Canadian winter next month. They're going to come down to stay with us, and I think 2 of them are going to stay, my partner and his wife, and a couple are going to stay with us. So the 2 owners of the company are just awesome. Even the people that work in there on the lines, while we were up there, the gentleman that was running the line, the extrusion line for our product, he was off on vacation. He came in because he was so proud of making our product. He wanted to show us our product being run. So it's really nice. Our relationship with them is great. We text daily on the phone. We text jokes. We text everything. I never thought I'd have that with a manufacturer, but I think we're very lucky, very blessed to have this that we found with these guys.
Which I'd say even just to have another company that has that much investment in you guys it's hard to find these days because you've got so many people where it's like, I'm clocked out, I'm on vacation, don't care. So to see that kind of attitude, that's fantastic.
Oh, they all want deck top shirts. So we're getting all that done right now. We're setting them up. I mean, they really show they're proud to make our product, and that means a lot to us too. To find somebody like that, they have as much into it as we do. They're already spending their own money buying new machines because of what's going to come. I mean, this thing's just really blowing up. So they're getting ready for what's coming. It's a great thing for them. It's a great thing for us. And we just always want to keep that relationship like that because it's pretty much perfect right now.
Yeah. Awesome. All right. Well, third business, the window business.
Window business.
You mentioned that you got brought into that one. The guy needed another partner to help him out. So what's that been like? And then I know you were talking about a little bit yesterday when we were chatting that you really came in and wanted to start scaling the thing. So what has that process been like, and what have you tried to emphasize with them?
Okay. So my window partner, Rich, it's Vision Window Solutions is the name of our company, and a very good friend of mine. He was actually my stucco contractor for close to 30 years on all my new homes. And like I was saying yesterday, he got a window dealership with CWS Windows out of Ocala, Florida. They do a lot of impact glass and insulated glass, and our specialty is impact glass. He basically got that set up because as he was building houses, instead of going through these third parties, if I can buy direct from the manufacturer, I'm going to save a lot of money, save my customer money. He started doing that, and I actually thought, okay, I'm going to replace some windows in my house. This was about a year and a half ago. And some of them came in the wrong size. There were a couple things going on. And come to find out, his partner was older, and he was kind of having some memory issues a little bit and basically wanted out of it. And he was ready to retire. He just wanted to be done. So Rich came to me one day. He pulled me out back. He goes, hey, can I run something by you? And I go, yeah. And he goes, I wouldn't ask anybody else. He goes, I know you've had business partners and things like that. And he goes, I don't know if you're interested. But if you'd like, you could step right in and be 50% owner of the window company. And I looked at him. I think I gave him a big hug. I was ready. I'm done building houses. I was ready. I was looking for something else to do. I really enjoy growing businesses. To me, it's a lot of fun. So, stepped in, licensed it, qualified it, all that. At the time, we didn't have a whole lot of marketing going on. First thing we did was get some radio commercials going just to get some brand awareness around. So we did about 6 months of radio commercials. It didn't generate a ton of phone calls like you would think, even being repetitive. We did get enough sales off of it to pay for the commercials, but just getting the brand awareness, get the name out there. And it costs money to advertise. Even when I had my AC company, we spent $30,000 a month just in advertising. That was print ads, social media, and we would do TV commercials. So we spent a lot of money on advertising. We're not doing that with this company. And again, a lot of it's word of mouth, growing, doing a window install, putting a sign out there. Next thing you know, 3 neighbors are calling. So we got a sales staff established, got all our pricing established, things like that. So it took a lot of time, a lot of groundwork, get a nice solid contract written, and just get it growing, get a credit line if you're going to need that. We got that. Luckily, Rich already had an RV and storage lot with a nice storage building on it. So we have about a 4,000-foot warehouse that he already had, which is great. So windows come in, they go in there. But what we really like to do, when we know the windows are going to come in, have the installers there, take them right from the delivery truck right to the customer's house. So we try to time it like that. Quick turnaround for the customer, quick turnaround for us. You're getting your income in quicker. Every time I go there, we got windows sitting there. That's money not in our pocket yet that we've paid for. So it's nice to turn it on as quick as you can. But as far as growth, we have a marketing company we hired probably about 2 months ago. So they're actually coming out to a lot of job sites. In fact, we did one last week. They're shooting commercials. So there's a lot of social media commercials going out. We're getting leads all over. There's business networks. I think it's called BNI, is this business network. So we're kind of getting tied into that. Kind of a nice referral program for everybody. So that's starting to really work out nice. So it's growing. It's growing as fast as we want it to right now.
Yeah.
So getting the window business or getting the home building business to the point of closed up, everything tied up, all the loose ends. That has taken a lot of my energy building the houses. Now that I can just focus on the windows and deck top. Deck top basically runs itself. My partner Jeff handles a lot more of the day-to-day activities than I do. I get more involved with the technical and the engineering and the pricing type of stuff. This is going to open me up now to really get this window business going because I have so many ideas. I know so many other contractors to talk to, get with them, start pricing their windows, things like that. So from this point, we're really going to grow it. So
Yeah.
and it's fun. I like doing it.
Yeah. I have a question. I'm not sure if you know, but do you guys have an idea of what you're shooting for in return on ad spend that you're doing? Because that's one of the things that...
Turn on ad spend. It'd be nice to get 20% back.
Okay.
So that's probably what we're shooting for, about 20% minimum would be nice
Okay.
on that.
So if you guys are spending $1,000 on ads, you're looking to return $1,200 off of that?
We're hoping.
Okay. Gotcha.
We're hoping.
And
We have been. It's been working actually. So with the marketing group, I think we're spending $1,500 or so a month right now. It's just getting rolling, and I mean, they've probably generated us at least $10,000 in income, probably. Net income just from that. So yeah, we're doing good with it, really.
yeah.
My number at 20% was probably pretty low.
The reason why I asked was I messed around beginning of 24 and then November of 24 with doing some Facebook ads, stuff like that. And my biggest thing was probably beginning of 24. I don't think I had my ad set up correctly. It was just the picture for stuff, and but dumped money on it. Didn't really see anything come back from it. And then same thing with November. Felt like the ads were better, but I don't think I dumped the right amount of money into it. So that's where I'm always trying to understand, like, all right, how much money is going in before like something comes out on the other side, and what should be the expected return on investment?
So as far as like Facebook advertising, my business partner Jeff, he's a master at that. He knows how to target market and all these different things. We have got so many leads and so much business off of such a minimal amount of money we've spent. Sometimes his monthly budget is $300. And what we hit for that, he knows how the algorithms work. He also has us, and probably he even does the marketing for the windows too. He also does, besides our marketing group, he does his own marketing for the window company. He's got us in probably 100 different Facebook groups, community groups, home groups, boat groups, construction groups, things like that. And that's free. So he spends a lot of time doing that, just keeps spider webbing and growing. But then he does this target marketing thing, which is pretty cool. So say for the windows, we're going to do a special buy 6 windows, get a free sliding door wall or something like that, or free installation on your windows. We'll pick an area that really needs their windows replaced. He'll target market that area with that ad. And it's pretty cool how that works. I'm not really savvy on how he does all that, but he does a good job at it.
Yeah.
So it's powerful. Social media is so powerful, and it's an inexpensive way to advertise. If you ever want to talk to him, I'll set you up with him.
Yeah, I'll
Pick his brain, because he's
really
really good at doing that, I'll tell you. And he likes to, he's, like I say, we have the same kind of personality. He loves to talk and help people out, so I'm sure he'd be glad to.
Yeah. Let's see. You mentioned you've got the marketing team, and how many guys, or what percentage would you say you've got in the field to what percentage sales, and what percentage is doing the marketing?
So right now we have Rich and myself are the owners. Jeff, who I mentioned, he's my partner with Deck Top. We also brought him into the window company. He's my sales manager for the window company. Under him, we have about 4 salespeople.
Okay.
And then we have a few different install crews. One install crew has 4 guys. One install crew has 2. The other one has 2. So those are, the install crews are actual subcontractors.
Okay.
So they're all fully licensed, fully insured. And then we have agreed upon rates on per window and things like that. So as far as a ratio, it's where we're at right now with it.
Yeah.
I mean, we're trying not to grow too big too quick.
Yeah.
You got to make sure your salespeople have enough leads to keep them around. As the leads pick up, we'll keep expanding.
Yeah.
But right now, that's where we're at right now with it.
Yeah, makes sense. Wanted to transition a little bit and ask you, as far as you've owned businesses for quite a while. So, how do you view yourself now as a businessman versus 20 years ago? Obviously, you've got your closing up things on the home building side. You've got some new ventures in front of you that you're excited about. But like when you look at yourself as pushing into these new areas, or even just on the day to day, how do you process all that?
It's kind of nice to look back and see where you started, what mistakes you made, what were positive moves, things like that. And it's really nice to convey that to other people. I really enjoy that. Like I was saying the other day, I'm getting to a point now. I just want to set up basically to be pretty much retired with the window company. If it gets to a point, I'll put someone in place to kind of take my spot, doing all the estimating and ordering. That's pretty simple. We actually have somebody on staff that could step in and do that right now. And then just, license it, qualify it, watch over everything. Trying to get to a point now I can slow down, like to set up for retirement soon is kind of my goal. But just taking everything I've learned, I'd like to kind of join one of those SCORE groups, like I said, small business group. I'm the kind of person I can't sit around. I have to have something to do. And if I could just help other people out establishing a business, people I know to help them get their credit going, get loans, whatever they need, business-wide, whatever kind of business they want to do, I get a lot of gratitude out of that, helping other people. But to sit back where I'm at now, I'm more tired than I was 20 years ago, to be honest with you. And especially having the 3 business has been tough. We got hit with the hurricanes in Florida. Our house flooded. Luckily, we're elevated, but we lost a lot. It's been tough on everybody. My mom, my stepfather died a few months ago. Moved my mom down to Florida from Michigan. We bought her a new condo on the water. I renovated the whole place. It was beautiful. The day she moves down, the hurricane hits. Flooded. And I have my mom as a roommate. Love her to death. Can't wait till she leaves. No. Just kidding, Mom. So no, it's a nice satisfaction to know what you've done, what you've developed, what you've worked for. When you run into people, like in my community, I'm very well known just for so many years of doing so many things. And, when somebody comes up to you and says, hey, I heard you built so-and-so's house next door, and this and that, what a great job, and how happy they are, and pretty much all the people I built houses for, we're friends. We hang out on the water together, we go do things. And it's just a nice accomplishment. Where I can sit back now and go, I guess I have learned a lot. And like I say, one of my big goals is to start helping other people eventually, kind of share my experiences with them, what I would do, not do, where I made a mistake, what worked for me. I'd be glad to share that with people and help people out. So that's kind of where I want to get to. Yeah. Right there.
In that vein, where do you see constraints for a lot of businesses? Like, obviously, there's different stages, and right now I'm at the very beginning, so it's one guy on a truck that we're running things, then eventually that kind of scales up, and you've got a couple guys, or some people can't keep it intentionally smaller, but as you see people's revenue start to grow, where are certain constraints that you see, and what are some of the unlocks for those that you've experienced along the way?
So, a lot of times it's what you want to do with your business. If you want to make more money in your pocket, stay kind of smaller. If you have a business that you want to grow and flip in a few years to make some good money from it, you got to get those numbers up. You're going to have more employees. You're going to have to put more money out. There's more challenges to it. You might get a lot of times you're writing a check for everybody else, but you're not getting a check. When I had my air conditioning company, we went through months. We didn't take any salaries at all, my partner and I. And I'm writing $3,000 checks to my salespeople every week and things like that. But it's a different process because I knew what I bought it for and what I was going to sell it for. So at the end, that was, when I got my payoff at the end. Kind of a different goal that way versus just making a nice living. To go out and make a nice living, like you're doing the contracting type business, if you can get to where you're building 5-6 homes a year, a couple remodels, things like that, get into the windows like we were talking, you could make a really, really good living doing that. Just, keep it small. Yeah. Keep it smaller. It's easier to control. It's easier to watch the money that way. Less headaches in a way. Sometimes everybody knows, every business owner knows, employees can be a challenge. I had employees that I would have to fire on Friday for stealing from me. Then I'd have to hire them Monday back. because my sales guys were going to quit because on my install crews I had to fire. They sold jobs over the weekend. Can't get the jobs in, so I'm calling them Sunday night. Hey, Keith, yeah, it's okay. You stole that 4-ton unit out of my warehouse. I thought about it. You know, you have a family to feed. Why don't you come back? That was tough. Had guys that all my vans were GPSed, and I don't know if they didn't realize that, but 8 o'clock on a Sunday night, my van's in their driveway, but my gas card is being used 6 miles away, putting $400 of fuel in something. They'd be filling their boats up with my fuel card. Don't think I'm going to catch that? I've had the girls in the office would kind of filter customers from getting to me on phone calls because I'm so busy doing everything and working with suppliers and things, and they'd run in every other day. Steve, you better take this call. Do I have to? Yeah, you better have to. She's going to call the news. Okay, Mrs. Smith, this is Steve. Yep, I'm one of the owners. My guys are at your house, 1515 Johnson Lane. Can I ask you what the problem is? Caught your guy in my underwear drawer. Okay. Here's the Pinellas County Sheriff's phone number, and I'm on my way out. I had employees that were just awesome, and I had employees that were just, they were out for themselves.
Yep.
They didn't care about you.
Yep.
You were the big company owner. You were rich. You were a gazillionaire. You don't need the money. No, it's quite the opposite. It took a lot of money to keep the doors open. And like I said, with that AC company, it took me $20,000 a week just to keep the doors open. So that was a tough one. But again, the goal was sell it at the end. So we did what we had to do. But if you can get some good employees, back to the building business and even the window install company, the window installers, we've known them for quite some time. Great guys. They're there all the time. They're dedicated. They're a team player. Doesn't mean they're perfect. Things happen. We always work together. And things aren't always perfect on our side either. Things happen. Even our window suppliers, things happen. We work through it together. Once you get that relationship going, it goes a lot smoother. Back to the home building company, most of my subcontractors have been with me like 25 years. I consider them family. Always there, always showing up. But I did go through a lot of, pulling my hair out with a lot of them in the beginning. I think you and I were talking yesterday. I didn't get to finish on something. You mentioned how somebody went down the road for another dollar or something like that. So when I first moved to Florida, when I worked for Boeing, I wore a suit and tie every day. I was a tie guy. I come down to Florida, I'm out, got my shorts on, my work shoes on, tank top on, enjoying the Florida heat. And on this job, there's a block crew out there. I took over a house that one of the other guys was running. And the house is half blocked and they disappear. I go, what happened to the guys? You call them, they're not answering the phone. I go down the road 2 days later, they're up here blocking a house. Well, he was paying $0.25 more for block, for labor. So you just gonna let my house sit? Well, they didn't realize we had subcontractor agreements. If they abandon the job, I'm bringing somebody else in. They also abandoned their pay. So I had to bring another crew in to finish it. Well, little did I know I'd have to call the police because a brawl broke out. So there's a lot of things that happen, but getting a well-established teams is a big part of it. Having a good relationship with people, if you can find that, that's just golden.
Yeah.
It really helps.
It's awesome. All right. I'm going to cut this one a little short. I know we've got some more notes in there, but we've got some family festivities to get back to. So we'll hit our rapid questions real quick. So what's the most impactful thing you've learned?
The most impactful thing I've learned? Treat people like you'd want to be treated yourself.
What's your favorite movie?
My favorite movie? Oh, man, there's a ton of them. Anything with action and revenge. I love Terminator.
All right. Your first character strength that comes to mind?
Integrity and be honest with people. It's what's bred in me. I think just how I was raised or whatever, but that's never changing. Be honest with people, hold your integrity, and treat people right, and it goes a long, long way.
Nice. Favorite part about Arizona besides family?
Favorite part about Arizona besides what?
Family.
Family? It's dry. I had to get saline spray for my nose. We got chapstick and eye drops. No, I like it out here. It's nice. It's really nice. The people, everybody we met is great. The Scottsdale area, I really haven't seen much other of Arizona than Scottsdale. It's really nice here. I really like it here. We're actually going to the Grand Canyon tomorrow, so that'll be pretty cool. But no, it's nice. I love my sister. I love visiting her. We can get out here more often. That's another reason I shut down the home building company. With my other companies, I can just work by laptop, get a little more back and forth time in. So now it's all good.
Awesome. And then if someone's in Florida, they want to reach out to you about the window company, where would they be able to get a hold of you guys?
Our website is visionwindowsolutions.com. visionwindowsolutions.com. That will get to the main number. If they want to talk to me personally, Steve Byrd, I'm one of the owners, you can just tell our operator on the phone and they would patch them right in with me.
Cool.
Being direct dealers with these window companies, we're coming in with prices that just these other big companies can't beat. We don't have a lot of overhead. We're keeping our overhead low. That passes on to the consumer as well. So we're feeling really good with that and getting a lot of word of mouth again going around. So
Yeah.
it's all a good thing.
Awesome. And then for deck top, anywhere besides Home Depot right now, or should we direct them to Home Depot?
So right now, Home Depot would be the place online, homedepot.com. Type in deck top up there at the top. You'll see all of our products come up. Right now, that's probably the best place. We're going through some things with corporate right now, getting into their distribution centers. Because right now, when it's sold online, we ship it out of Florida from our warehouse, or it ships out of Canada. Once it's in their distribution centers, they'll actually be taken to the stores. We'll be sending pallets to their distribution centers. That's the first step. Then after that, it's more getting into the stores. But we have a website, deck-top.com. We have a lot of information on there about our products. That's probably the first place to go. They can click on each picture, each product. It will take them right to the Home Depot website, or go right to the Home Depot website.
Fantastic.
All set up.
Cool. Awesome. Thanks for jumping on the podcast. I know that we
I
kind of set this
appreciate
up
it.
last
This is awesome.
minute.
No, I appreciate it.
Cool.
I'm glad to share some stories sometimes.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Thanks, everyone, for listening. Until next time, I hope your hammer stays accurate, your Wi-Fi fast, and your work blessed. See you, everybody.
Take care now.